Welcome, dear listener, to the quiet, resting heart of ancient Vietnam. As you settle deep into your bed, let the heavy, rhythmic sounds of the monsoon rain slowly wash away the burdens of your long day. Tonight, we journey back to a time of profound devotion, to the origins of a sacred binding tradition, the careful, deliberate folding of the betel leaf. Breathe in deeply, smell the faint, sweet fragrance of blooming pomelo flowers, and let the ancient whispers of the Delta guide you into a deep, unbroken peace. Long ago, in a tranquil village sheltered by towering, ancient bamboo hedges, lived two twin brothers named Tân and Lang. They were so remarkably identical that even the most observant village elders, their eyes weathered by decades of sun and harvest, could not tell them apart. The brothers shared a bond forged in quiet, unwavering devotion, spending their days studying under the heavy thatched roof of their wooden home. They sat upon intricately woven reed mats, the stiff, dry texture of the sedge, pressing gently against their knees as they painstakingly copied ancient script onto rough, textured mulberry paper. The sharp, earthly scent of freshly ground black ink filled the small room, blending perfectly with the sweet, humid aroma of ripening jackfruit from this courtyard outside. Tân, being the elder by mere moments, always ensured his brother's inkstone was meticulously filled with fresh, clear rainwater drawn from the large terracotta urn. Their movements were a slow, synchronized dance of deep familial reverence, speaking volumes without a single word, echoing in the quiet, sun-drenched study. Seeking to deepen their understanding of the ancient texts, the brothers traveled to the home of a respected Taoist scholar, carrying heavy burdens of fragrant rice and dried salted fish as humble offerings. The master's daughter, a maiden of gentle grace, greeted them at the heavy wooden gates. She wore a traditional Aota thon, the four flowing panels of the tunic dyed a deep, earthy brown from the resilient no root, tied neatly at the waist with a waist. A soft, pale green silk sash. With methodical, practiced elegance, she prepared welcoming tea, her slender fingers carefully dropping tightly rolled jasmine leaves into a small unglazed clay teapot. The boiling water cascaded from a heavy brass kettle, instantly releasing a thick, floral steam that clung to the damp, moss-covered brick walls of the courtyard. The brothers watched her quiet diligence, mesmerized by the delicate clinking of the porcelain cups against the wooden tray, a sound that resonated like faint, rhythmic striking of a distant temple bell in the afternoon heat. The young woman, possessing a quiet wisdom, wished to discern who was the elder brother, for traditional hierarchy dictated strict manners of respect. One crisp, misty morning, she prepared a single steaming bowl of fragrant rice porridge, delicately infused with slivers of fresh biting ginger and topped with finely chopped green scallions. She carried the heavy ceramic bowl, still radiating an intense, comforting heat, and placed it gently on the low wooden table between them. She offered only a single pair of polished bamboo chopsticks, their smooth, lacquered surface gleaming faintly in the dim morning light. Without a moment of hesitation, Lang, the younger, respectfully pushed steaming bowl toward Tân, bowing his head slightly in an unspoken gesture of absolute submission and familial duty. The earthy, peppery aroma of the warm porridge curled into the cool air, marking the exact moment the master's daughter smiled, her eyes crinkling softly as she recognized the elder's quiet authority, sealing a fateful decision in the heavy, silent air of the dining room. Soon after, the village celebrated the joyous union of Tan and the master's daughter, a ceremony marked by the vibrant red of silk lanterns swaying heavily in the evening breeze. The resonant, rhythmic beating of ancient bronze drums, adorned with intricate carvings of flying egrets, vibrated deeply through the hard-packed earth of the village square. Yet, as the seasons slowly turned, a subtle, heavy silence began to wedge itself between the once inseparable brothers. One twilight, returning exhausted from the dense, humid fields, Lang stepped into the dimly lit home, the thick smell of burning sandalwood incense hanging heavily in the shadows. The young wife, mistaking Lang's silhouette for her husband in the fading, bruised purple light, joyfully embraced him from behind, her silk sleeve rustling like dry autumn leaves. Tan, entering just moments later, witnessed this innocent but devastating error. A cold, unspoken sorrow instantly crystallized in his chest, heavier than the massive grinding stones used to mill their daily rice, casting a long, quiet shadow over the warmth of their hearth. Unable to bear the suffocating weight of his brother's silent, misplaced suspicion, Lang left the wooden house in the quietest, darkest hour of the deep dawn. He walked relentlessly through the dense, silver mist of the sleeping forest, his bare feet sinking into the cool, damp moss and crushing fallen, decaying mahogany leaves. He reached the edge of a wide, unyielding river, its surface as smooth and dark as polished obsidian, reflecting the pale, waning crescent moon. Exhausted, hollowed by a profound, echoing loneliness, he collapsed onto the soft, muddy bank, weeping until his heavy tears soaked deeply into the fertile soil. Slowly, miraculously, the very earth rose to cradle his tired body. His flesh and bone hardened, drawing the cold, heavy minerals of the earth into his veins, transforming his agonizing sorrow into a solid, enduring mass of pure white limestone. The crackling sound of shifting tectonic rock echoed faintly in the still air, forever anchoring his pure, misunderstood soul to the quiet, eternal edge of the dark, flowing waters. When the heavy mist of morning finally lifted from the damp thatched roofs, Tan awoke to a profound and unsettling emptiness within the walls of their wooden home. The woven bamboo sleeping mat beside his own lay perfectly cold and untouched, its intricate geometric patterns holding no trace of his brother's familiar presence. A deep, hollow ache settled in Tan's chest as he stepped out into the humid courtyard, where the heavy wooden mortar and stone pestle sat completely silent, waiting to pound the daily harvest of sticky rice. He questioned the village elders, who were already meticulously weaving sturdy rattan baskets under the dense shade of the banyan tree, their calloused hands moving with practiced, rhythmic precision. But no one had seen Lang depart. Driven by a heavy, agonizing guilt, Tan abandoned his half-plowed rice terrace, leaving his sturdy water buffalo tethered to a low-hanging jackfruit tree. He carefully packed a small, tightly wrapped bundle of steamed cassava in a dried banana leaf, tied it securely with tough bamboo strips, and walked into the forest. For countless days, Tan pushed relentlessly through the dense, tangled undergrowth of the ancient highland woods, surviving only on tart, wild starfruit and fresh rainwater cupped in the broad leaves of the taro plant. His weary steps eventually led him to the exact same muddy riverbank where Lang's journey had ended in sorrow. There, resting heavily at the water's edge, he discovered a smooth, solitary block of white limestone that had never been there before. Instantly recognizing the quiet, enduring spirit of his twin brother bound. Within the cold mineral, Tan collapsed against the hard, unyielding stone. He wept until his voice gave out, his desperate sorrow pulling him deep into the muddy earth. His legs rooted firmly into the dark soil, drawing up the rich, subterranean water as his spine straightened and stretched upward toward the sun. His skin hardened into a textured, ringed bark, and his arms gracefully transformed into broad, feathery green fronds, becoming the very first tall, slender areca tree standing eternal watch over the silent resting limestone. Back in the quiet village, the master's daughter waited with an increasingly heavy heart, her days measured by the slow, methodical tasks of tending the traditional earthen hearth. She sat for hours before the flickering flames, carefully feeding dry bamboo, kindling into the three-pronged clay stove, balancing a heavy, soot-stained cast-iron pot to boil bitter melon soup. With a rhythmic, repetitive motion, she operated the heavy wooden loom in the corner of the room, her hands throwing the smooth wooden shuttle back and forth, weaving thick, natural cotton threads into long, durable lengths of raw cloth. Yet, every faint rustle of the wind against the dried palm leaf window shutters made her pause, her dark eyes searching the empty, dusty path. When the large ceramic water urn in the courtyard finally ran dry, she could no longer bear the suffocating silence. She tightly wrapped her deep brown AOT thorn around her delicate shoulders, secured a woven conical leaf hat beneath her chin, and stepped out to find her lost family. Her desperate journey traced the heavy, lingering footprints of her husband, leading her deep into the quiet isolation of the river delta. When she finally broke through the dense curtain of wild elephant grass, she found the tall, solitary areca tree swaying gently above the smooth white limestone block. Exhausted from days of travel and overwhelmed by a tragic, intuitive understanding of their fate, she knelt softly upon the damp earth. She wrapped her tired arms tightly around the sturdy, ringed trunk of the areca tree, leaning her weary head against its rough, enduring bark, and wept for the beautiful life that had unraveled so quickly. As her final tears fell, her delicate body began to soften and stretch, transforming miraculously into a slender, climbing vine. Deep green, heart-shaped leaves sprouted rapidly along her length, spiraling upward in a tight, affectionate embrace around the areca tree, forever uniting her spirit with her husband, while her roots wrapped gently over the base of this quiet, sleeping limestone brother below. Many harvests passed until King Hung, traveling through the vast delta on an intricately carved wooden royal barge, stopped to rest beneath the strange, beautiful canopy of the three united plants. The local villagers, wearing humble hemp tunics, brought forth the broad, heart-shaped leaf of the vine, wrapped it carefully around a thin slice of their areca nut, and dusted it with a pinch of white ash ground from the limestone. When the king thoughtfully chewed this mixture, the crushed fibers yielded a striking deep crimson juice, as warm and vibrant as human blood, leaving a surprisingly sweet, warming sensation on his tongue. Realizing this profound alchemy represented the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood and marital devotion, he commanded that these three elements must forever be cultivated together. From that quiet day onward, the careful folding of the betel leaf around the areca nut and line became the sacred, mandatory beginning of every Vietnamese wedding, every poetic conversation, and every formal greeting, carrying the ancient, whispered memory of Tân, Lang, and their eternal love. In the wake of the king's sacred decree, the creation of a proper vessel to hold these precious elements became a revered art form. The village carpenters, their hands stained with the dark sap of jackfruit wood, began carving exquisite wooden boxes known as true. Using finely honed chisels with polished horn handles, they methodically scraped away ribbons of hard timber, revealing intricate motifs of dancing cranes and blooming lotus flowers on the heavy lid. The interior was carefully divided into small, distinct compartments, one for the fresh, pungent betel leaves, another for the quartered areca nuts, and a tiny, pure silver pot specifically forged to hold the slaked lime paste. To protect the delicate wood from the humid delta air, artisans applied thick, lustrous layers of natural lacquer, carefully sanding each coat with dried cuttlefish bone and polishing it with coarse linen until the surface gleamed like dark tortoise shell. This heavy, beautiful box became the profound centerpiece of every home, passing quietly from mother to daughter, carrying the silent, enduring weight of our ancestral memory. The preparation of the betel quid evolved into a meticulous, silent meditation, particularly the elegant folding technique known as Tem Triar Hokan Chain. A grandmother would sit on a sedge mat, selecting only the most vibrant, unblemished betel leaves, their prominent green veins crisp and full of natural oils. With a small, sharp brass knife, she would slice away the tough stem and carefully trim the edges of the heart-shaped leaf. She then applied a remarkably thin, even smear of pink-tinted lime paste across the leaf's rough underside, using the flat wooden tip of an ornate hairpin. The leaf was deftly folded and rolled, the ends expertly tucked to resemble the elegant, swept-back wings of a mythical phoenix. A slender sliver of areca nut, dried perfectly in the midday sun, was wedged firmly into the center of the green fold, holding the delicate structure together. This methodical, intricate craft required years of patient observation, as the beauty of the phoenix wing quietly reflected the deep grace and moral virtue of the woman who carefully shaped it. Because of Tân and Lang's eternal bond, these sacred elements became the mandatory foundation of the LNHNE, the traditional Vietnamese betrothal ceremony. On a carefully chosen, auspicious morning, the groom's family would form a highly structured procession along the narrow dirt paths dividing the flooded rice paddies. Leading the line were respected village elders, followed by young, unmarried men, carrying large, circular wooden trays known as mam kua. These heavy trays were piled high with hundreds of perfectly arranged areca nuts, their green skins gleaming, resting upon a thick bed of fresh betel leaves. Every single tray was draped in a square cloth of heavy red silk, heavily embroidered with golden threads depicting dragons and phoenixes in deeply textured relief. The physical weight of these offerings was immense, purposefully demanding slow, measured footsteps from the young men, symbolizing the heavy responsibility and enduring patience required for successful marriage. When the bride's family stepped past their heavy wooden gates to accept these specific red trays, the union of the two lineages was considered permanently, undeniably bound. Beyond grand ceremonies, the chewing of betel became the crucial, quiet lubricant of everyday village diplomacy and neighborly connection. When guests arrived at a thatched home, pouring tea was only the second gesture. The first was always passing the betel box. The guests would carefully select a pre-folded phoenix wing leaf and place a tea between their molars, beginning a slow, methodical chewing process. As the coarse fibers of the areca nut ground against the soft leaf and the kindling alkaline lime pasta, a profound chemical reaction occurred within the mouth. A sudden, intense flush of heat would spread down the neck, accompanied by a mild, euphoric clarity that relaxed the muscles and warmed the cheeks to a rosy hue. The thick, crimson juice, pooling like dark wine, was periodically spat into a specialized, ornate brass spittoon placed discreetly under the table. This shared physiological warmth naturally dissolved social tensions, ensuring that any disputes over irrigation canals or stray livestock were negotiated with softened voices, measured breaths, and a deep, culturally enforced mutual respect. Ultimately, the deepest reverence for the betel and areca nut was reserved for the sacred family altar, the spiritual anchor of every traditional home. Before any festival, the head of the household would meticulously clean the dark, carved mahogany altar using a pristine cloth dipped in warm ginger wine. 3 perfect betel leaves and 3 whole areca nuts were carefully arranged on a small porcelain plate with blue glaze, positioned directly beneath the heavy brass incense burner. With slow, deliberate movements, the elder would strike a long bamboo match, holding the flame to the tips of 3 sandalwood incense sticks until they glowed a steady ember red. As the thick, fragrant smoke curled upward, drifting through the intricate wooden fretwork of the ceiling, he would bow deeply, pressing the burning stem between his palms. The offering of the betel quid served as a direct, physical invitation to the spirits of the ancestors, providing them the warmth of the living world, and ensuring that the quiet loyalty of Tân and Lang would never, ever be forgotten. To ensure a continuous, abundant supply for the village rituals, the cultivation of the betel vine and the areca tree became a deeply revered agricultural practice. Farmers carefully selected the most fertile, well-drained soil near the edges of their lotus ponds, enriching the earth with thick, dark mud dredged from the water's bottom. They planted the areca seedling first, allowing its straight, unyielding trunk to establish a firm root system over several heavy monsoon seasons. Once the trunk grew tall and heavily ringed, they gently buried the delicate roots of the betel vine at its base, guiding the young, searching tendril upward with soft strips of dried banana stem. Harvesting the areca nuts required immense practiced skill. A nimble villager would wield a thusan cow, a remarkably long, lightweight bamboo pole fitted with a small crescent-shaped iron sickle at the very tip. With a sharp upward thrust, the sickle would cleanly sever the thick fibrous stem holding the cluster of green nuts, catching them skillfully in a woven rattan basket before they could bruise against the hard earth. The preparation of the essential lime paste was an equally rigorous and respected craft, transforming cold stone into a vital, life-giving element. Village artisans constructed domed earthen kilns, carefully stacking rough chunks of mountain limestone and thick layers of dried mangrove wood. For 3 continuous days, the kilns burned with an intense, steady heat, calcining the hard rock into brittle, chalky white ash. This raw ash was then meticulously transferred into a specialized unglazed terracotta vessel known as en bain feuille, or the respected lime pot spirit. Boiling rainwater was poured slowly over the ash, triggering a violent bubbling chemical reaction that eventually settled into a remarkably smooth, thick white paste. To honor the spirit residing within the heavy pot, elders would periodically add small drops of red betel juice or rice wine, a practice known as feeding their lime. Over generations of continuous use, a hardened, deeply calcified crust would form around the rim of the pot, bearing the physical, enduring weight of thousands of shared conversations and peaceful village agreements. As the chilling, damp mists of winter gradually yielded to the vibrant warmth of the Lunar New Year, the sacred Betel and Areca assumed their most vital, ceremonial role. Inside the bustling kitchens, massive square copper pots boiled relentlessly over roaring wood fires, sending up thick, starchy clouds of steam from their tightly bound banchan, traditional sticky rice cakes stuffed with mung beans, and fatty pork. Before any family member could taste these rich, festive foods, the grandmother of the house would carefully approach the intricately carved wooden ancestral altar. She selected only the most flawless, unblemished betel leaves and the plumpest, freshly split areca nuts, arranging them meticulously on a small elevated tray next to a steaming cup of pale green tea and a plate of candied ginger. Betel offering was presented as a direct, physical bridge to the spirits. The vibrant, blood-red juice produced by chewing the quid symbolized immense luck, enduring prosperity, and the unbreakable, harmonious bloodline of the Kain family, ensuring the ancestors' blessings for the new spring. This profound legacy of devotion spilled out from the private homes and into the fair, sprawling courtyards of the Tích Trầu Cau, the central communal house of fair village. On warm, languid evenings, the village elders would gather upon wide, slatted bamboo beds known as chung tree, the smooth, aged wood polished to a dull shine by decades of communal resting. As they passed the heavy, lacquered wooden betel box among themselves, the methodical, rhythmic chewing naturally slowed their breathing and lowered their heart rates, inducing a mild, clear-headed euphoria. The warmth of the betel juice loosened their tongues, allowing the rich, melodic tones of ancient Vietnamese poetry to fill the heavy night air. They recited the tragic, beautiful tale of Tân, Lang, and the faithful wife, too. The young children, who sat quietly at their feet, their small hands busy detangling rough silk fibers from a wooden spindle. The story was not merely told, It was physically ingested and deeply felt, ensuring that the heavy virtues of loyalty and unspoken sacrifice were permanently woven into the minds of the next generation. Now, the heavy, intricately carved wooden doors of the ancient village homes are securely barred for the night, and the glowing embers within the clay hearths have softly faded into white, silent ash. The tall, slender areca trees stand like quiet, enduring sentinels in the dark courtyards, their broad green fronds rustling gently, sheltering the deeply rooted limestone blocks beneath the dark, fertile earth. The faithful betel vines continue their slow, eternal embrace, a living, breathing testament to a love that entirely conquered misunderstanding and profound sorrow. As the distant, hollow tapping of a wooden night watchman's block echoes faintly across the flooded rice paddies, allow the deep, unshakable loyalty of this ancient legend to fill your weary chest. Feel the soft, familiar weight of your own blankets wrapping securely around you, sheltering you completely from the demands of the waking world. There are no more heavy burdens for you to carry tonight, and absolutely nothing left to resolve. Close your eyes, breathe in the deep, ancient stillness, and surrender beautifully to the long, quiet rest. The legacy of the Betel and Areca became entirely inseparable from Vietnamese matrimony, beginning long before the wedding with the meticulous creation of their bride's ceremonial garments. The women of the household engaged in the patient, ancient art of sericulture, feeding pale silkworms mountains of freshly harvested, finely chopped mulberry leaves. The collective, rhythmic crunching of the worms sounded exactly like a steady, gentle rain drumming upon a dry thatched roof. Once the delicate cocoons were perfectly formed, they were carefully softened in simmering copper vats. Skilled hands expertly drew out single, microscopic strands of raw silk, winding them tightly onto heavy, rotating wooden spools. This pristine thread was then submerged in deep earthen vats filled with a thick, fermented dye made from crushed indigo leaves and ground limestone. Through weeks of methodical dipping and oxidizing in the humid delta air, the silk absorbed a profound, unyielding midnight blue. A master weaver then took her place at the heavy wooden loom, her bare feet rhythmically pressing the bamboo treadles while she wove auspicious geometric patterns directly into the lustrous flowing panels of the Ao-Ti Than. As the auspicious day of the union approached, the village kitchens transformed into a highly coordinated, methodical display of culinary craftsmanship. The preparation of sowed, the mandatory red sticky rice, required immense patience. Women soaked opaque, short-grained glutinous rice overnight in clear well water, allowing the hard kernels to swell and soften completely. They carefully halved ripe, heavy gak fruits, scraping out the vibrant, oily red iris encasing the seeds. This thick crimson pulp was thoroughly massaged into the drained rice by hand, ensuring every single grain was coated in the brilliant, auspicious color of good fortune. The rice was then placed into a tall, woven bamboo steamer set over a roaring wood hearth, cooking slowly in the sweet, starchy vapor. Nearby, men engaged in the arduous, rhythmic task of making jaula. They struck freshly prepared lean pork with heavy stone pestles inside a solid jackfruit wood mortar, pulverizing the meat into a perfectly smooth, elastic paste. This dense mixture was meticulously wrapped in thick layers of wilted banana leaves, bound tightly with flexible bamboo strings and boiled to perfection. Before the groom's procession could finally arrive, the bride's family meticulously prepared the central ancestral altar, a towering, heavy structure of darkly stained mahogany. The patriarch of the family used a coarse, dried loofah sponge and warm pomelo peel water to carefully wash the intricate wood carvings of swirling clouds and mythical tortoises. Once the wood dried to a dignified, quiet gleam, he arranged the mam nan kyuthu, the traditional 5-fruit tray, upon a raised brass pedestal. He placed a heavy, unripe green banana bunch at the base, its upward curving fingers forming a natural protective cradle. Within this strong foundation, he nested a perfectly round yellow pomelo, a physical symbol of complete and enduring family prosperity. Around the pomelo, he methodically tucked small, vibrant red persimmons, smooth green papayas, and dark, textured sapodillas. Finally, directly in front of this vibrant harvest offering, the family's most treasured heirloom was set. An antique, beautifully polished silver betel box. This shining, open vessel sat quietly, acting as the crucial spiritual anchor point where the ancestors would soon evaluate the groom's sacred offering, Betel and Areca. When the warm midday sun finally pierced the heavy canopy of the bamboo forest, the groom's procession arrived along the winding dirt path bordering the flooded rice paddies. Leading the solemn, silent line were 6 unmarried men, their shoulders bearing the immense physical weight of the red, lacquered offering trays. The most crucial tray, carried at the very front, held exactly 100 perfectly round, unblemished areca nuts, resting upon a thick, vibrant bed of dark green betel leaves. The entire arrangement was shielded by a square of heavy red silk, richly embroidered with thick, raised golden threads. As the procession stepped carefully over the high wooden threshold of the bride's home, the patriarchs of both lineages bowed deeply, their hands clasped firmly in mutual respect. The red silk was slowly lifted, instantly releasing the sharp, peppery aroma of the fresh betel into the humid room. The bride's grandfather reached out with weathered, calloused hands, selecting a single leaf and a quartered nut. He placed them gently upon the open silver altar box, officially accepting the groom's enduring promise and permanently binding the 2 bloodlines. Following the careful, rhythmic chewing of the betel quid, the newly united family sat together upon woven sedge mats, sharing delicate cups of warm, fermented rice wine. The intense, comforting flush of the areca nut spread quietly through their chests, completely dissolving any lingering formalities and replacing them with a profound sense of kinship. The tragic, ancient sacrifice of Tân and Lang had beautifully blossomed into this enduring, protective ritual. Now, as the heavy wooden shutters of the village homes are slowly drawn closed, against the cooling air, the thick scent of burning sandalwood settles over the dark courtyards. The tall areca trees sway methodically in the distance, their broad fronds offering a continuous silent lullaby to the resting earth. Let the unshakable loyalty of this tradition fill your weary mind with a deep, absolute sense of security. Feel the familiar weight of your blankets wrapping perfectly around you, a safe, enduring embrace shielding you entirely from the waking world. Breathe in the deep, ancient stillness and surrender your heavy body to the beautiful, unbroken sleep.